It's beer and food o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we're going to be pairing a bottle of ÖLBÄKS Brewery's ale, coming in at 4.7% ABV, 330 bottle from Norway, black bottle cap, with... Now I've not had a Subway in 15 years, it must be 15 years. I've gone for the Meat Feast Subway with some hash browns. They brought out some hash browns, so we've got a bit of a different beer and food pairing video coming up for you, because I don't really know what to expect from Subway. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's get the beer out into a glass, see what we get. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass then. It's pretty good. I'd say big bit of a fat finger, one finger head, slightly off white. It's a hazy amber coloured ale. You can see the haze on the top there, just swirling round, and then the bottom is clear. Good levels of carbonation. Let's get that. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put the yeast in later on. Let's get the aroma. That smells really good. A little bit blueberry-ish, a little bit kind of plum blueberry fruits coming on the back end. Spicy, a little bit of sweetness coming through. Smells pretty good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, a solid ale. Touch of raisin on the back end, touch of plum, kind of jammy and tart like. Drinkability is very good, a very refreshing beer. Good levels of carbonation, pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth. A little bit of sweetness to begin with. A little bit of biscuitiness, nuttiness towards the middle, and it goes over to the hops on the back end. A little bit of bitterness. So there's a nice balance to the beer. It's quite tasty. Let's see how it pairs with the food. As I mentioned, I've not had a Subway in 15 years. It must be 15 years. I didn't even know how to order it. Kind of like, I just said, I'll have one of them, and I expected it just to come, and he was like, right, you need to choose your salad now. You need to choose your spices. So I felt like I was in a kebab house. So we got the Meat Feast. This is meatballs, ham, pepperoni. I asked for some chili sauce to go in there because I'm a bit of a chili monster. I also got some lettuce and cucumber. That's the word, cucumber. Do you want to have a look? Oh, and I went for the Italian, the regular Italian bread. Let's dive in. Yeah, meatballs are nice and tomatoey. The ham's tasty. As usual, these kind of foods are very messy. But that's fine. Kind of like that sort of thing. The chili sauce and that lettuce crunch is really good. This is my first meatball coming in now. The meat has improved remarkably since the last time I had a Subway. I love that spice, that big spice. I mean, it's self-inflicted because I did it myself. I asked for the spice. But really tasty. The meat's The meat's good. The meatballs are good. Nice kind of, nice consistency to them, nice taste. The lettuce, the cucumber, nice crunch in there. The bread's fresh. And a bit of a mess going on. Let's try it with a beer. It's really like pairing beer and food at the moment. It's really good. And I like reviewing this kind of day to day, week to week, always available food. Because beer is always available, so is food. And it's the kind of thing people do. People order these different foods and these different beers, and why not match it on YouTube? So Subway have launched hash browns, part of their saver menu. They were 99 pence each. They went in this machine, you'd like put them in for 40 seconds, and it was like this, it was like a hairdryer noise this machine was making, and then all of a sudden they came out piping hot. And they got something about them which I really like. They're kind of a touch soggy, and I mean, if you don't like soggy food too much, you may not like these, but there's something kind of like they've been around for a while and they're slightly soggy and they've been warmed up. Aeroplane food. Have you ever been, years ago, you used to get served breakfasts on an aeroplane, and the hash browns would be kind of like slightly soggy. They'd lost their crisp. They wasn't crunchy anymore. I actually really like that in food. I mean, these are really good. They're like a bit naughty, a bit sloppy. But there's some nice seasoning. Some really nice seasoning on them. They're like kind of got a little bit of a spice on the back end, a little bit of pepper, and maybe like a vinegar infused into them. Again with the beer. Goes really well. I'm really enjoying this beer. Let's get the yeast in. So if you've come to watch the Subway review, I'm going to give you guys a little lesson now on beer. This beer looks to be bottle conditioned, so there's some yeast in the bottom of the bottle. We had a little bit of haze in the bottle, in the glass earlier on. Let's get that into the glass now and watch what happens to the beer. See, it's changed colour remarkably. It's a remarkably different beer now. Hazy amber in colour now. So you might be thinking, have I just ruined my beer? I haven't. I haven't ruined the beer. What I've done is add an awful lot of vitamin B to the beer. My door's knocking up. Quick Amazon parcel. Right, yeah, I was talking about the yeast in the beer. So it's vitamin B. They use the yeast to, let me give you a quick lesson in beer. Again, if you turned up for the Subway review and you're now interested in beer, because I'm the beer magician, yeah? Only joking. Let me tell you about the beer, how it works. So to carbonate the beer, second fermentation process, the brewer adds yeast to the wort, which is a sugary, malty liquid, loads of sugar. They add some yeast in. The yeast mops up and eats all of the sugars in the malt, turns it into alcohol. What sugars are left in the beer after that, the brewer will put maybe the smallest amount of yeast in each bottle, and that's what you're seeing here. And it helps to mop up the rest of the residual sugars, as they call it, into the beer and carbonate the beer. So it naturally carbonates the beer. And it's a very kind of traditional way of carbonating beer. No forced carbonation used in this beer. So a very good way of producing beer, a very old way of producing beer, and a way that I like how they produce this beer. Bottle conditioned. The beer for me gets I like the balance, I like the drinkability, I like the fact that if I had 6 or 7 bottles on a Saturday afternoon, I would smash them away quite easily. It's a very smashable, it's a very drinkable beer. It's a beer that you don't really have to think about too much. It's just plain and simple. I don't mean that in a bad way to the brewer. I just mean plain and simple, as in you could just, as I said, knock back 6 or 7 pints and just enjoy it. Just enjoy the beer without not thinking too much about the hops and too much about the malts. It's a very simple beer, but it's a very good beer. It's an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Going back to the Subway Meat Feast. It was $2.59, part of their saver menu. It's good. It's really good. It's really tasty, really nice. Has it filled me up for £2.59? Not really. Not really. That's the thing, see. That's the thing. Where I'm from, you can get a bag of chips still for about £1.50. And if I really wanted to fill myself up, I'd get myself a bag of chips. But that's not a bag of chips. That's a bread roll with some meat in it. I've never really felt, onto the subject of Subway and why I've only eaten it once in 15 years. Me and my wife, we weren't even married then. Back in the day when we were kind of courting, we went to Subway once and we had this meat feast. I think it was called a meat feast. And it basically, they served us kebab meat in a roll, and I couldn't even finish mine. I just couldn't eat it. It was just kind of like slapped together and poorly made and very expensive. We found it very expensive, like the same as a McDonald's. And you can have a McDonald's and it's much better. It's much better quality. It's much better made food. As for the hash browns, I really like them. I really think they're well tied out. I mean, for a pound, if I was passing Subway and I had a pound in my pocket, I'd pop in and get some hash browns off them just to keep the wolves at bay in terms of being hungry. Another reason, we used to have in Barry where we live, there used to be a place called AJ Baguettes, and it was a bloke who he's ex-army. Do I need this? That's better. You can concentrate more on me now, can't you? So this guy at AJ Baguettes was ex-army. He used to make his own fresh baguettes in town, and he used to make a killing, an absolute killing, and he was cheap. And the bread were proper big baguettes. You could have tuna mayo and also, and they were amazing baguettes. The moment Subway moved in, everybody started buying Subway because it was this brand, and nobody went to AJ's anymore. And for me, this is like a little, you know, it's, look at it, it's all a bit sloppy, it's all a bit, I've never really understood it. I never really understood how AJ's could close, an independent guy down the road could close, and then Subway, with their great big television marketing. That's the problem, is square eyes. People got square eyes. They watch the television advertisements, they think it's cool, they think they got to go in there, and it's just a bit of a shame. So it's the reason why I've only ever bought one Subway. Number one, it was bad, it was terrible, and number two, yeah, it kind of ruined the original baguette shop in Barry, which was rather wonderful. Rating for this, it's nice. It's nice. It's a 7 out of 10, but I'm not going to start jumping around the kitchen raving about it. The hash browns, I really like them. They're a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching our good, honest food and beer reviews. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer reviews. Be interested in what you think about my comments about this type of thing in the comments box. Subscribe, boom, and cheers.